Hey y'all, it knocked me off my square, but I refuse, I absolutely refuse to let it stop me. I had been talking about the LA Times Festival of Books and how I was extra excited about it and how much fun I had. But I didn't tell people the backstory with LA Times and how it knocked me off my square for a second. And now I'm not even going to lie. I get a lot of calls and people offering to promote my book. Um, I'm feeling some type of way right now because I was having some trust issues. And so the point of me jumping on here is to let you know, one, what happened at LA Times, but to also just let you know it might knock you off your square for a minute, but we have a conscious choice to choose to keep moving. So I was at the LA Time Festival of Books last week. It was cold. For LA, it was cold. I thought it never rained in Southern California. It was raining. Um, it's about 50 degrees. And we go to University of Southern California. We find the exact location. You know, I have a visual impairment, so sometimes I get a little frustrated about trying to find stuff, but that was cool. All of that went okay, and I was really excited about that. And then we get into a situation where I'm looking for the booth. It was supposed to be booth 908. I go to find booth 908. There were four guys sitting there. And I asked them for the publishing company who was supposed to be marketing me. And they told me, well, we represent a few different publishing companies, but we're not representing that one. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, because I've given these people a whole lot of money to represent me. And I ran into another young lady who her and her husband were looking for the same publishing company. And she's like, let me call my guy. And I'm like, okay, I already called my phone, not even ringing. And she's like, well, my guy's going to answer. I'm like, okay, do that. She calls her guy. And as I suspected, y'all, the phone didn't ring. And so we go to the organizers of the event. When we get to the organizers of the event, the LA Times Festival of Books, and there was a young lady standing there specifically from the University of Southern California. They told us we don't have these people on our roster. And then she was like, let me get the master list. If someone is on here under their organization name, they'll be on this list. And she's saying, I'm not saying you got scammed. What I'm saying is they're not on this list. And if they didn't use their name, we don't know how to find them. Now, again, it's pouring down raining. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. And I can get a little street, y'all. I'm ready to fight. I brought my girls out here. And how you mean you gonna tell me we've flown halfway around the country, spent our money on hotels, my best friend Kevin and rented a car, and you gonna tell me they're not here or I can't find them? I had to take a step back. I inhaled, I exhaled. I had to practice what I preach at this moment because I was about to pop. And so I go into my phone and I was like, okay. Immediately in my mind, I'm like, yeah, they done scammed me. As opposed to concerning myself with whether or not I got scammed, I looked up an email for a company that I was supposed to be doing Chicago Book Fair with. I asked them, now, is this a real company? Do you know where they are? She was like, yeah. She gave me their booth number. I went over there. I showed her the emails and I'm like, are you all real people? Are you all real people? And I gave her a little sass because I was upset. I'm hot at this point. And so she's like, yeah, you see us here. They took up like a huge space. They had a lot going on. They had people signing books. They had people speaking. And I told her what had happened to me. She immediately gave me a hug, which was refreshing because my friends, they know me and they didn't know whether or not to touch me or not because I get a little irritated and I had my flaws. I don't know if I was taking it out on them or not, but I was frustrated because I had brought my friends with me and it was humbling for these folk not to be where they said they were going to be. And my friends then spent their own money. That was like crazy. But she hugged me. And she said, okay, I had somebody look you up. You're supposed to do Chicago with us. But since you're here, why don't you sit down, meet and greet with our authors that we have here, and we'll give you 10 minutes to speak. And you don't have to give us anything because you've already booked Chicago with us. Immediately, got a smile on my face. And I felt God's grace. And I went on to speak. And I got a really nice feel of the people there. And God will show you where you're supposed to be, exactly where you are, despite where you put yourself. While I was there, we saw a young lady who we met at the airport. We were looking at her beautiful chocolate skin and her platinum hair. And I'm like, oh, you're beautiful. And she was checking out my friend's pink outfit that she had on. And we laughed and, just waved each other away at the airport. And we met up with her. She was one of the authors with this particular company. I went on to start talking to other people. And there was a gentleman there who I actually worked with one of his organizations several years ago. And I felt at peace. And I was so glad that I didn't pop off like I was going to and throw my grown-up temper tantrum and walk away and leave because I would have missed the blessing. When I finished speaking, she was like, I don't know if you're going to go in search of that company. And I was like, you know what? Time is harder to come by than money. I'd rather waste my money than to waste my time. Because in actuality, I'm not wasting my money. You all offered me an opportunity in place of what I had paid. And she was like, okay, come back tomorrow and speak. And I did. I found new family, new acquaintances, got some great new books that I have to read. And I'm at peace with showing up with them in Chicago at the Chicago Printers Row Book Fair and knowing that they're going to take care of me. And I have no problem investing more time and more money with them because they embraced me. They took me in when I didn't know what I was going to do. Sometimes, y'all, we don't even have to figure out what we're going to do. As soon as we start worrying how the story ends, the song says, let go and let God. Let him have his way. I am so glad that I listened to that voice that told me, don't worry about whatever that situation is right now. You can deal with that later. You're here now. It's cold. It's raining. Look in your emails. I got somebody who's going to take care of you. So, y'all, it don't matter what it looks like. Somebody in a situation right now where you feel like somebody using you, somebody then tried to get over on you, somebody tried to play you like a goofy, as my auntie used to say. Maybe it's God putting you in realignment, putting you where you're supposed to be. When we change our perspective, we tend to change our mind. We tend to change our lives. If we just have a positive mindset and look for positive things, even when it looks like a situation is hopeless, and surround ourselves honestly with good people. You know, I had a friend, Denisha, who's like, girl, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it looks like, but we getting ready to move on to the next thing. We've invested too much money. We've invested too much time. Of course, when I got home, I did deal with that publishing company. And it ended up being negligence on their part, which was still negligence that affected me. And I still want some compensation for that. But in the meantime, I found peace in the midst of a storm. And I am so grateful. I'm trying to figure out what this is on my screen. And so I just want you all to know that God is good anyhow. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Keep going. Recalculate, devise a plan, and keep moving. That is all. Peace.